Hi, I am Thierry Hubert, and I would like to introduce you to a new form of big data, the big data of expressions. What is big data? Well, first of all, big data is not a product. A lot of people have misconceptions about big data, and they look at it as purely a technology. And also, big data did not just appear. As a matter of fact, big data has been around forever, and it grew in our systems from all the transactions we've accumulated, the discussions, the emails, the customer feedback. It is massive, and it is very messy, and it doesn't show any signs of slowing down. But also, big data includes our expressions, what we say on the internet. The mere fact that people say things all the time on Twitter and express themselves on Facebook and whatnot constitute a new form of big data, and it is a resource to be exploited. The big data of expressions basically is truly a new class of big data, and it is important to understand it as such, because expressions are now being recorded. Our conversations, which were ephemeral and limited to our friends and whatnot, are now captured. And companies like Twitter understand that very well. And what's particular about these expressions is that they make us aware of what's happening. That's why brands are looking at analytics. And that's most probably why Apple acquired Topsy, which had access to billions of tweets for the purpose of analytics, for the purpose of understanding customer behavior. The one thing we do know, though, although computers are really great at accumulating all these expressions, it is not easy for computers to understand or reveal the patterns of these expressions, especially since so many of them are messy, unreliable, recent. They have not been curated. So big data systems are trying to make sense and use of patterns for predictive computing purposes, for customer relationship management and product improvement and so on. But what we fail to realize is that people themselves already and naturally make use of patterns every day. When you walk in the environment, in the street, you recognize familiar patterns, you detect anomalies, you see a clown running down the street, and then you say, oh my gosh, this doesn't belong there. That's a discovery. But what's interesting about this is that organizations are still unaware that improving the employees' natural ability to gain awareness by using patterns can be truly a stepping stone to building big data solutions. And what this really means is that why not help people infer meanings from patterns? Because awareness can be enhanced and evolve as freely as communication did with email. When you started with technology in your organizations, email, forums, communication system came into place, and the big question was, well, is it really valuable? I remember the early days of Lotus Notes, groupware, collaboration software. What was interesting is that if you had told an executive in 1989 that that platform would be used to do your expense reports, to do your customer relationship management, they would have laughed. They would never have understood the premise of a collaborative environment being tied into CRM. And today it is business as usual. Well, the same is true for big data. How to introduce the basic, the simple components of pattern recognitions and big data concept to people so that in their own understanding and interaction with big data, they can start to become more resilient to change and think about solutions they could be building upon it, because they now understand that patterns can be revealed through technology. Not the meaning of the patterns, simply showing the patterns to them. So let's look at how we do things. So the search-based awareness. How do people become aware? Because pattern is about awareness. When I look at what's going on outside, I'm aware of my environment. I see patterns, the clouds, the movement of the clouds. I see the movement of the trees for the wind. I see car traffic. But today in the enterprise, in the world of information, what do? Well, we search. And search is manual. It is exhaustive. It takes time. And it is biased to what is presented. And also, it needs to be repeated every time. When I search for big data one day, I'll search for big data the next day. But did you know that Google decided what you see when you do a search, for instance, and the other search engine players, but let's take Google, because the results are ranked and biased by popularity. Now understand the word popularity. It means that a lot of people looked at it and therefore it is elevated. Well, it takes time to make something popular. So recent information escapes. Your proclivity. The fact that the path you take, your browsing history, dictates also what you might be interested in, and Google infers what might be meaningful to you. Your demographics is definitely part of it. And your social network connections. Most people don't realize that once a search engine understands who you're connected with socially, it influences what information might be relevant to you because it is relevant to the people you connect with. And what that does, it limits the scope and reach of your search, of what you may discover. It makes you very comfortable in this environment, giving you basically the illusion you're getting everything you need because people are giving it to you, your friends and social network, or the search engine inferring what you want based on what your friends have seen in the past. So the environment of information becomes very comfortable, and it needs to be if they want to make money to target the right ads to you. The more you're predictable, the more you understand the world in a certain way, the more you're receptive to information, to ads that mirror your persona, your electronic persona. So results are required to be read at length to infer patterns and trends. So you have to look at the articles. You have to scroll through. But expression-based awareness is different. Expressions are indicative of what is happening and interesting right now. That means it hasn't been curated. And this is why search engines do not address these expressions in their results. And can you really know what's happening right now? Or are you more invested in showing what happened a few weeks ago that a lot of people liked? So the Darwin Awareness Engine, this is our core technology, taps into the timeline of expressions to reveal patterns organically and in real time. That means we do not use the bias of ranking. We basically look at the events as they occur and extract pattern mathematically from this using chaos theory principles, pattern recognition principles, and movement principles. So the user is no longer limited by the bias of search or burdened with the effort of consuming content to be aware of what's emerging. And this is key. So you're reducing a lot of time spent trying to figure out where the information, what the new information is and which one is valid and what is emerging. So let's look at the world of expression, but in terms of top daily sources of expressions. So where are we going to go? We know it's a messy world. We know not everything is valid, but we know right now that most of the expressions in a day are being published on Twitter, and it is completely open with 500 million entries a day. That is huge. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to have all the details. This is not an accounting system. This is not a ledger. This is expression. A lot of it means nothing. Some of it means something. And when it's interesting, people notice, and the movement of the fact that they notice means something. Tumblr comes second with their blog posts, and Reddit in terms of votes. But a lot of the other ones, like Facebook, are still closed into a small community. The expressions are still limited to personal exchange, and they're not available publicly, or at least not most of them. So let's look at awareness with search. So let's say you have 1 minute to report on what is trending about big data. So let's go ahead, right? So let's read a few articles. I'm looking at this page, and I notice right away on the first page that, well, things are ranked by popularity, but there's a lot of advertisement. There's a lot of promotion. So let's try a second page, because from searching big data in Google right there, I'm not sure I really understand what's going on, and I have to scroll down. So I scroll down. So is this any better? Okay, I'm looking. So some people are talking. There's Amazon still, something over here, maybe about a book, some images. Do I still know more about big data? Do I still know what's going on? I'm not sure. I don't see the dates being explicit. I don't know if it's recent information. It's a question I may ask tomorrow, but if I ask it tomorrow, will the screen be different? Most likely not. So were you able to see what's trending? No. So how much more time do you think you need to actually read these contents and scroll down to understand what's being said about big data and what is happening right now, what's trending? So we said it comes from Twitter. So let's look at Twitter. So the topic big data on Twitter. Again, first page, promotion, advertisement. And then I see some tweets below. So I've got to go to the second page. I am on the second page. Is it any better? Yeah, I see IBM has got some impact. SAP has mentioned a few things, but it's in a stream. It's 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago. Would it be different in a minute? Oh yes, it will be, because at least it's a stream. But I need to stay on the screen. I need to look at what's moving, and I need to read it to understand if there's a pattern, because a pattern requires a lot of information to be consumed in order to infer what's going on. So let's evolve to the next level, and I'm going to show you now big data, not with Google and Twitter, but big data with Tweetzup. So here's what's going on over the last hour. Analytics, big data, SDD, cloud. I saw earthquake, social, learn, development, summit. Oh, there's a summit. And what else? Healthcare, I saw quickly, analytics. So I'm not looking at the content at all. What I've done over here is I have been looking at the cloud, and these clouds, when I click on them, they show what information is connected, and they go and show me what videos on YouTube correlate to these terms in big data. Book, here we go. Some articles, some tweets, only the essential, and everything in orange, everything is a cluster, they're all connected. I could also set alerts. So I have a whole bunch of alerts like trending, that could be like IBM, if IBM is trending for 30 minutes, startup. I'm going to push, for instance, when startup is trending for 10 minutes. And on my email, actually, I will also send to my email another term. So now I have terms of interest that I'm going to be notified when they're trending for 10, 20, or 30 minutes. This was a minute. So is this any better? Did you notice earthquake, book, mobility, and other topics about big data? And the fact that they were emerging, they were moving in time. They were moving over the last hour, and you could see what was trending, what was emerging. You could even see what tweet was being mentioned, and within the tweet, you could click on the link that reference an article or white paper or whatnot, and you could have discovery-based search. Instead of search leading to discovery, the experience of discovery about what was going on with big data drove the search of YouTube videos. So what Darwin's Tweetzup does, it gathers the information about your topic, and constantly and continually updates the information, and it is automatic, and it will alert you when you and your community, because you could push it to Twitter as well, when a trend is occurring, and a trend that could be weighted in terms of, did people care about it for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour? So you can measure. This is what Awareness with Darwin's Tweetzup is. So please feel free, contact us. You can go visit Tweetzup directly by clicking on this link, tweetzup.com, or link to the site, or go to darwinecho.com as well. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.